Okay, so word problems. It's hard to explain how to do all word problems, but here are some suggestions. Definitely want to read the whole question. You want to check to see what you're really being asked for. You would like to see if there are expressions that you can create based on the information that you have with variables, and then solve it. So if you have an equation, see if you can solve it. If you have a system, see if you can solve it. And then always check to see if the answer that you have makes sense. Okay, so that's sort of a general way. Keep in mind that like guessing and testing is a great strategy as well. Sometimes that is actually quicker than trying to do all of this stuff. So there are a lot of ways to do it. Um, let's just do a couple problems. So a shop sells bicycles and tricycles. There are 7 cycles, that means both bicycles and tricycle, and 19 wheels. Determine how many of each there are if a bicycle has 2 wheels and a tricycle has 3 wheels. So you can do this algebraically. You could say that the shop sells bicycles and tricycles. So we have bicycles and tricycles. And the shop has 7 of them. There are 19 wheels. Well, the number of wheels comes from 2 for each bicycle that you have and 3 for each tricycle that the shop has. And that has to equal 19. And then here you can see you have a system. So you can solve this system. Another thing that you can do is you can just say, well, 19 wheels, 7 cycles altogether. You know, I can just try some combinations. So for example, if I said that there were, you know, that's odd. So if, for example, if there are 3 tricycles, 3 times 3, that leaves you with 9. So then I have 10 wheels left, and 10 divided by 2, that would be 5, and then, so 5 bicycles, so that means that there are 8 total. So, you know, that didn't work. So, try another guess. I could say, for example, well, what about 1? And it probably helps if you do this in order then. So then, what I would suggest then is that you start with a little list, so bicycles and tricycles. You know, you have 19 wheels altogether, so if you do, for example, let's see, bicycles are 2, right? So the tricycles, if I have 1 of those, that's 3 wheels, and then that leaves 16 wheels for this, so that's 8, and 8 and 1 is 9, so that didn't work. So we just did this one with 2 already, I think, didn't we? So 2 times 3 is 6, that leaves 13, that's not divisible by 2. So 3 times 3 is 9, so 9 wheels here, and then that leaves you with 10 wheels there, so this would give you a 5 and a 3, so 5 and 3, that doesn't work. So what if I make this 4? 4 times 3 is 12. That didn't work. So 5 times 3 is going to be 15. So if I have 5 of these, then I have 4, and then I have 4 left here, and then that would be 2. So there are 2 bikes and 5 tricycles. So that's one way to do it. Guess and test. Okay? Algebraically, I did want to finish solving this. So here, if I want to eliminate it, for example, I could just do, well, that's 2b plus 2t is equal to 14. So multiply the top one by 2. And then here I have 2b plus 3t equals 19. So if you subtract, you get 2 minus 3, that's a negative 1t. 19, 14 minus 19 is a negative 5. So the number of tricycles is 5. That means that the number of bicycles is 2. So there are 2 ways to do that. One algebraically, one sort of guess and test. And either one works fine. Okay. A fruit shake cost R2, comma. Okay, so the reason I have this one in, because in the word problems that we do, so R stands for rands. And then the 2 comma here is actually 2.00. So if this was dollars, you could make this like, that's $2. So a fruit shake costs 2 rand more than a chocolate milkshake. If 3 fruit shakes and 5 chocolate milkshake cost 78 rand, determine individual prices. So a fruit shake is the same as a chocolate milkshake plus 2. We know that 3 fruit shakes and 5 chocolate shakes are 78 rand. So these are the 2 statements that I can translate. And now I have another system, and I'm going to try to solve it. In this case, since I sort of given what f is, I'm going to plug c plus 2 into here. So 3 times c plus 2 plus 5c is equal to 78. I'm just going to drop the decimals. So that's 3c plus 6 plus 5c is 78. The 6 should be here, so that's 72. And it means that 8 chocolate shakes cost 72, so 1 cost 9. And that means that the fruit one is 9 plus 2 would be 11. Okay? Does it make sense? Well, 11 is more, so the fruit shake does cost more than the chocolate shake, so that makes sense. And you could just multiply it out. You could say 3 times 11 plus 5 times 9, so that's 33 plus 45, so that did work. I did get 78 grams. Okay? Alright, next one. Typical problem, SAT type problem, you see these a lot. So the product of two consecutive negative integers is 1122. Find the two integers. So this one starts, maybe it's a little tricky initially. So the product of two consecutive negative integers. So we have integer A and integer B, and the product of those two is 1122. Well, what else do we know? Well, we know that if integers are consecutive, then, for example, consecutive negative integers will look like this. So if I say A is a negative 5, then B would be so either a negative 4 or a negative 3. It's a negative 5 plus 1, which is, sorry, so it could be negative 4, but B could also be negative 5 minus 1, which is a negative 6. So I said that wrong. So there's a relationship between these two because this is just A. Right here, this can be replaced with A. So one integer is the other integer plus 1. And it really doesn't matter which way you write this. So in this case, you do B plus 1 times B is 1122. That means B squared plus B equals 1122. B squared plus B minus 1122 is equal to 0. And then you could use the quadratic formula, or you can sort of, maybe guess and test here. So a good thing to do here would be to see what the square root of 1122 is. If you do that, you have an idea of sort of, because these numbers are almost the same, so when you do that, so what I'm doing right now is sort of the square root of 1122. So that means I got 33.49. So I'm guessing then that the two numbers that multiply here, so what if I did B plus 34, and then the other one would be, so can I do 1022 divided by 34? That's 33. I could be minus 33. So that means that B is either 33 or B is equal to a negative 34. And it can't be the positive one, so I'm saying that B is a negative 33. And then A would be a negative 34. And A is going to be negative 34 plus 1. So that would be a negative 33. So in this case, let's check. Is a negative 33 times a negative 34, that needs to be 1122. So negative 33 times a negative 34. So I did get 1122. So I feel pretty confident. I'm going to say that the two integers are a negative 33 and a negative 34. And I don't actually need to say that they're A and B anymore, because that's sort of arbitrary. So that's it. So I'm going to say those are my two answers, a negative 33 and a negative 34. Okay.